Welcome back to Taunton. It's the fourth and final day of the women's test match. England definitely starting the day in a bit of an unenviable position, aren't they, Sid? So they're 221 runs behind, and they're still 72 runs short of the follow-on target. So it's going to be a tricky one. We have run a Twitter poll, which is ongoing, so you can still vote in it. 7% seem to think that England will win today, so that's nice for those people. I wonder what they've been drinking. 49% think that it's going to be a draw at the moment, and 44% think that Australia will win. So perhaps we'll start off with the last of those scenarios, Australia winning. How might that pan out today, Sid?
Well, that's the one I voted for. How might that pan out? Well, I think Australia's best chance of winning is going to be to bowl England out twice. I think that the optimistic Australian scenario, and I think that they'll certainly go for it if they can, they'll open with Elise Perry and Megan Shute, and they'll look to bowl England out before they get to that follow-on target, make them follow on, and try and bowl them out again before they get to the extra 150 odd that they're going to need after that. At that point, Australia could still easily win. England finish 20 or 30 runs ahead. Again, Australia will obviously then happily go out there and make those runs. So I think that's the most likely scenario.
Okay, could happen. My personal vote went to it being a draw, actually.
So why do you think that is, Raf?
Because I think that this England team are very similar to the one that came out on the fourth day at North Sydney 2 years ago, and they batted all day, didn't they? And I think they only lost a couple of wickets, and they did successfully get the draw in the end. Of course, that was a slightly different scenario because the Ashes weren't going to be lost by drawing the match, but I don't think that England will capitulate in the way that a lot of people seem to think they will. And the other thing to say is that they're only 6 wickets down in the first innings, and then they've got 10 wickets after that. We've just seen Tammy Beaumont out actually in the nets, haven't we, batting? So she's obviously thinking it's likely that she will bat again today. But she's prepared and she's ready for that, and they'll all have a second go at it. And I just think that Australia have approached this quite negatively and haven't left themselves enough time, personally.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, obviously we'll see whether that pans out, and I certainly do think that the final one of those scenarios, which is an England win, that's really in the gift of Australia to give England the opportunity to do that. England can only win this match if Australia give them a chance to do so. Is that going to happen? I really don't think that it is. And at that point, you say, well, if there's any chance of England winning, Australia are going to close that down and go for the draw. So in some ways, that does kind of put the odds on the draw. In terms of like, if you're actually saying I'm trying to predict the result from a sort of gambling perspective, maybe I would be a little bit different. I still think that overall Australia are going to go for that win and probably get it, but I think there's good odds on a draw and the very poor odds on England winning because Australia will just close it out if there's any chance of that.
If either side particularly wanted to go for a win, I'd say that they should have done it before now, because I think that both sides have had opportunities to really go all out for the win, and neither side have. I feel I did get a bit cross yesterday in the video yesterday, but I'm still feeling a little bit cross. I think that actually Australia didn't show any intent really for about an hour and a half yesterday morning, and then England, okay, there was a time after that tricky little pre-lunch period, there was a time when Amy Jones and Heather Knight were batting together, and you actually really thought, well, they're going to go for it, they're going to do what I said that they needed to do and was really hoping that they would do in order to try and actually win this game and keep themselves in the series. But when Heather Knight got out, it just seemed to shut down, and particularly the last hour out there was a bit dire, wasn't it?
Yeah, England certainly were going for it. I mean, partly because Amy Jones in particular was just more or less playing her natural game. Heather Knight was actually playing slightly differently. Heather Knight was really trying to play very, very straight. You could see between every ball, Heather Knight was practicing shots, and she was straight bat. And you know, every single time that, you know, after she played a shot, she was like going through the motions of making sure she's going through it. She was kind of banging herself on the head with her own bat, going play straight, play straight. And of course, what happened? Like about the second time, she didn't play straight. She tried a sweep, got hit on the pads, and you know, there you go. So you know, Amy Jones playing her natural game was something that was working for England during that period. But, you know, how long can that last in a test match situation? And we're going to potentially be faced with England looking at the same thing again today, I guess. That, you know, if Amy Jones has to come out, you know, does she play her natural game and wind up, you know, hitting 60 and then getting out? Or does she attempt to do something that she's less accustomed to fight against her natural instincts? You know, and that's tough to do for a long time. So,
well, England will obviously, and are going through, suffering quite a lot of criticism from what was quite a negative approach yesterday. What do you think explains that approach, Sid? Because you had a bit of an insight into this with your piece yesterday.
Yeah, I think that, you know, I've spent a lot of time talking to various people around the England setup in the last couple of years, and there's a very consistent theme in the way that they look back on the last Ashes in Australia. They will continually tell you that they didn't lose the Ashes. The series was a draw. I've heard Mark Robinson say it explicitly, I've heard Heather Knight say it explicitly, I've heard Danny Wyatt say it explicitly. You can bet the others are saying it as well. That's the theme in the camp. So they very much see an 8 points all finish to the series as an honourable conclusion. They see it as Australia didn't really win the Ashes, they just retained them. So I think that what we could be seeing here is an England strategy based on, well, if we can draw the test and then win all 3 T20s, we can still get that honourable draw again in the entire series. And one of the problems is that obviously history won't record that. History will record that Australia retained the Ashes, but what it shows, interestingly, is that the players and the setup don't necessarily look at things the same way the fans do, and the players and the people in the setup definitely see that 8-all scenario as something to cling to from 2 years ago, and that's very likely what they're thinking about right now as well.
Yeah, I think you could well be right. I mean, I think that they've massively kind of shot themselves in the foot there a bit, though, because then they've then got to go on and win all 3 T20s against a very dominant Australia side who absolutely thrashed them in the final of last time they met in the T20 format, the final of the World T20 in the Caribbean last November. So if that's really what they're staking all their hopes on, then I'd say it's a bit of a long shot. And I'd say that the people in our Twitter poll who think that there's any possibility of an England win today really need to go back and watch the highlights of the last hour yesterday, perhaps. Anyway, let's hope for a decent day, and I suppose let's hope that England can somehow cling on for a draw.